I've noticed many people have ego-driven sexual fantasies with the change if a person awakens. You don't even need to worry about that. You think that you need to get out your stick to save people. All these gurus with weird sexual fantasies, or all these awakened people with weird sexual fantasies. Obviously, if they're being abusive, then a good of us, of the collective group of us, stop that. But if suddenly somebody likes being tied up and being whipped, what's it to do with you? Who cares? And how would you know the difference between ego-driven fantasy and non-ego-driven fantasy? It all becomes to disappear, because this body-mind mechanism is always going to be set up the way it's set up. So, if it was first introduced to sex by a certain way, or if it had the karma of sex a certain way, maybe after awakening it takes off any idea of right or wrong, or not any, that it can't express that sexual fantasy. I'm not talking about negative, like really nasty sexual fantasies, but I'm talking about like regular sexual fantasies. I'm not going to child porn or child abuse or anything like that. I'm just talking about ones that are in the realm of legal in our society, before everyone starts going ballistic. But what's wrong with that? You think you know what an enlightened body-mind mechanism looks like, but you don't, because the body-mind mechanism doesn't become enlightened. It's always going to have its patterns, and each body-mind mechanism is so specific to its ways of being. And if it's attracted to older women or dominatrix women or something, then maybe it will always be like that. And maybe after awakening, there's more of an acceptance of that and an expression of that. If it's attracted to really big, huge mamas or men or something, and before it was ashamed of being that, maybe that will fall away, and there will be an absolute embracing of the sexuality, which is really beautiful. You wouldn't know what an enlightened ego or a not enlightened ego looks like, because it's not like that. The body-mind mechanism will change, but maybe it becomes more weird. Maybe it becomes what some people would say more egotistical. The human's always going to be the human, which is movement towards desires and movement towards that which is pleasurable. And if you like bondage, you like bondage. An enlightened person could love bondage. Why not? No, that must be ego because it's da-da-da-da. That's all mind stuff. You don't even know what enlightenment is. You can't know as a person. There is this movement to this boundlessness, and it's absolute mystery. And then the body-mind mechanism has to do what it does. And then each situation, it responds differently. To each energy it's placed in front of, it responds differently. And this is love, the body doing as it does. I'm not saying it will do hateful things. Hate goes. It's not going to do things where it's murdering and raping people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not going to say it's going to be lying and cheating and unethical. The body's naturally ethical, but it's going to stop being ashamed of what it is, and it will express what it is, which is really beautiful.